The discovery of the Bajoran wormhole in 2369 opened vast new frontiers for the Federation. Unfortunately, contact with one of the Gamma Quadrant's major political powers, the Dominion, led to a 2-year-long war. The conflict cost millions of Federation, Klingon, and Romulan lives, left hundreds of millions of Cardassians dead at the hands of their otherwise Dominion allies, ravaged dozens of Alpha Quadrant planets, and destroyed thousands of starships. The United Federation of Planets and its allies won peace, but at a terrible price that will affect the Alpha Quadrant for decades to come. The Dominion War was a sustained, high-intensity conflict which resulted in the destruction of thousands of Starfleet vessels and the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Starfleet personnel. More casualties were suffered here in this war than any previous war combined by the Federation. The Federation core worlds were repeatedly attacked. One, Beta Z, was conquered by the Dominion and held until almost the end of the war. Even Earth, the capital and heart of the Federation, was direct for the first time in Federation history. For much of the war, the Federation faced the distinct possibility that it would lose the fight and be destroyed, causing major morale problems everywhere from the front lines to the home front. Only through the unflagging combined efforts of Starfleet, Klingons, and Romulans was the Dominion threat defeated, at great cost in both men and material. Thus, for the first time since it was founded, the Federation actually had to fight for its very existence. After the wormhole's discovery, the United Federation of Planets tried to open up relations with Gamma Quadrant species. The Federation began to hear about a strong, ruthless power called the Dominion. First contact with a Dominion species, the Jem'Hadar, occurred on Stardate 48058.2 when the Dominion kidnapped Commander Benjamin Sisko of Deep Space Nine, destroyed the colony of New Bajor, and announced to the Federation it would no longer tolerate any more intrusions into the Gamma Quadrant. On Stardate 48211.3, Starfleet sent a mission into the Gamma Quadrant to contact the Founders, the leaders of the Dominion, to try and resolve the dispute peacefully. However, the crew of the USS Defiant was captured and tortured by the Founders, and eventually they realized that any kind of peace accord would simply not be able to be reached. The Federation reacted to all of these events very cautiously, convening conferences to discuss the Gamma Quadrant matter and commissioning studies and reports regarding the Founders. Admiral Robert Layton, a prominent member of Starfleet Command, prepared a report recommending sweeping security measures to deal with the changeling threat. Federation President Jarish Inyo rejected Admiral Layton's recommendations as unnecessarily broad and repressive. Meanwhile, the Romulans and Cardassians tried to address the Dominion threat in a more proactive fashion. A joint task force assembled of about 20 starships were sent into the Gamma Quadrant to obliterate the Founders and their homeworld. Unfortunately for them, the Founders had anticipated such a maneuver. One of their own infiltrated the task force in the shapes of a Romulan Colonel Lovak. When the fleet arrived in the Amarian Nebula, it discovered that the Founders had departed and left over 150 Jem'Hadar ships behind to greet their would-be attackers. The Jem'Hadar obliterated the Cardassian Romulan fleet. Changelings also insinuated themselves into many Alpha and Beta Quadrant worlds to learn about them and attempt to weaken them through carefully planned deceptions. Recognizing the Federation as their chief opponent, they focused much of their effort on Earth, assuming the identities of high-ranking personnel in the most vital Federation offices. This gave them extensive and often unrestricted access to some of the Federation's most important secrets and resources. Near the end of 2371, the Dominion tried to spark a second Federation Zenkethi war by having a changeling in the shape of Ambassador Kranjenke trick Benjamin Sisko into entering Zenkethi space. Fortunately for the Federation, Sisko and his crew saw through the deception and avoided the trap. Changelings also replaced high-ranking personnel in the Cardassian, Romulan, and Klingon governments. In a brilliant espionage coup, the Founders kidnapped General Martok, commander of the Imperial Klingon Defense Forces, and substituted a changeling for him. This allowed them to direct Klingon military policy for well over a year. The imposter General Martok convinced the Klingon High Council that changelings had taken over the Detapa Council on Cardassia. Chancellor Gowron declared war on Cardassia, and when the United Federation of Planets refused to assist him, dissolved the Khitomer Accords and declared war against the Federation as well. Not until early 2373, when Starfleet discovered that the quote-unquote Martok was a changeling and revealed this threat to Gowron, did peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire resume. In 2372, we also saw the first dealings between the Dominion and the Breen. As part of their efforts to destabilize the Alpha Quadrant, the Founders secretly funneled money to various pirate and privateer groups, ordering them to attack vulnerable targets and, hopefully, pin down part of Starfleet in a fruitless attempt to keep the quadrant peaceful. One of the rogues they used was Thot Graal, a powerful Breen military leader who frequently masqueraded as a mercenary. The Dominion hired Graal and his band of quote-unquote pirates to attack targets throughout the Bajoran sector. On Stardate 49775.3, Graal attacked the Bajoran colony of Prophet's Haven, forcing the USS Defiant to come to the colonists' rescue. While the attack on the Prophet's Haven was a relatively minor incident, the contact between the Breen and the Dominion was anything but. Both parties recognized in the other a potential useful ally and resource. The Founders admired the efficiency and ruthlessness with which the Breen undertook any task assigned to them. The Breen, for their part, respected the wealth and power possessed by the Dominion. The Founders took care to remain in contact with the Breen and learn as much about them as they could. Deep Space Nine soon learned that a fleet of at least 50 Dominion ships was preparing to come through the wormhole to begin the invasion of the Alpha Quadrant. With Starfleet reinforcements at least 2 days away, the Cardassians offered a few ships, commanded by Gul Dukat, to assist the station's defense. This wasn't enough, so Captain Sisko decided to collapse the Bajoran wormhole to protect the Federation. But a changeling disguised as Dr. Julian Bashir, whom the Dominion had kidnapped while he attended a medical conference, sabotaged the emitter array, thwarting Sisko's plan. The station braced for an attack, but the approaching Dominion forces suddenly turned away towards Cardassia. Dukat's ships broke ranks to join them. He announced that, pursuant to his secret negotiations with the Founders, the Cardassian Union was joining with the Dominion. After Dukat revealed the Dominion-Cardassian alliance, a contingent of Klingon vessels led by the flagship Negvar came to Deep Space Nine. Chancellor Gowron renewed the Khitomer Accords and reforged the Federation-Klingon alliance to oppose the Dominion. A huge fleet of Starfleet and Klingon vessels assembled at Deep Space Nine. Even the Romulans sent ships in support. As a large enemy fleet neared the station, the Bashir changeling tried to destroy the star Bajor Ba'alavel with a runabout full of trilithium explosives. When the Defiant stopped him, the enemy fleet, intended only to distract Starfleet, withdrew without firing a single shot. Soon, preparations for war engulfed the Alpha Quadrant. The Dominion sent, on average, of one large contingent of ships and Jem'Hadar to Cardassia each week for 5 weeks. It stationed thousands of ships and personnel, including several Founders, on key Cardassian military facilities and worlds, and increased Cardassian military production. Fearful of a Dominion attack, many Alpha Quadrant powers, including the Bajorans, the Modors, the Tholians, Gorn, and Romulans, signed a non-aggression pact with the Dominion-Cardassian alliance. Starfleet increased its patrols of the Cardassian border, in the process losing several ships. Starfleet knew it had to find a way to block the wormhole, which the Bashir changeling sabotage had made so stable that collapsing it was now impossible. With an enemy fleet approaching and no reinforcements able to reach Deep Space Nine at a time, Captain Sisko played for time while the station's crew laid a field of self-replicating mines. Sisko's ploy worked. The Dominion-Cardassian alliance attacked, but the Defiant finished laying the mines, and DS9's meager forces inflicted serious damage on the enemy. The destruction of over 50 ships before Starfleet personnel fled the station. The triumphant Dominion immediately began searching for a way to remove the minefield so it could obtain endless reinforcements from the Gamma Quadrant. Although the Federation lost Deep Space Nine, it achieved victory elsewhere. On Stardate 50975.2, as Dominion Cardassian forces were taking Deep Space Nine, a strike force of Starfleet and Klingon vessels crossed the Cardassian border and destroyed the Cardassian shipyards on Toros 3. This concludes the first part of the Dominion War video. Stay tuned because we have many more parts to get through this very serious and detrimental conflict to the Star Trek multiverse. Please, if you enjoyed this video, throw a like and a subscribe up on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at @RealKetwolski. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies.